What's shaking, y'all? Hope it ain't bacon. It's your boy. We back. New video. Interviewing my boy Court with his 98 Beamer 4-door turbo. He got a lot going on in this car. I got a lot of information out there for you guys. So,
what up?
We're going to start it off with letting him, tell you the story about it. This is the second one, correct?
Yes, second one. The first one was a 95 325. We swapped to a 2.8 bottom end. Pieced together very cheaply, but it was a 9-year build, and over those 9 years, it ended up making 600 wheel horsepower.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, it was my baby. Unfortunately, it got rear-ended, and it crushed all of this into that car to the point where, it was a 95, so it wasn't worth very much to insurance, so they totaled it out.
Right,
so
they always
took everything off of it and put it into this 98. This 98 now is OBD2 instead of OBD1, so I had to go with a whole new tune. This one runs off of pure E36 now, so it's a blessing in disguise getting hit.
Right.
All the things that I wanted to do to the 95 that I was just like, nah, I don't need to, I'm fine here, are things that I was able to put into this build now. And this one should make upwards of 800 wheel horsepower.
So whole
35 PSI.
Damn. So a whole 200 more plus horsepower from previous, all from having a wrecked vehicle.
Right. So, things that hurt our heart sometimes is for the best.
This is true, man.
It's a lesson
wise
that
words.
You're always taught, regardless of it be in automobiles, relationships, whatever. But the relationship with my automobile,
it's a different type of relationship.
Right.
It's a different type of love you just can't break free from.
So this one definitely was a labor of love. Everything from the 95, like I put M3 suspension all the way around it, the whole rear subframe, front subframe. So all of that had to be swapped over from that car to this car. I did it at home in my 2-car garage. My wife was, pushing me. I can park outside. You can use the whole garage to get your car done.
Oh, that's love.
Yes. And she's in the car scene too, so she understands and she knows that this is my baby. So everything that she could do to help out, she was there for.
Yeah, when you got somebody that love you and love what you do and don't mind it, and that's real, because
for sure.
It ain't a lot of car guys out there who wives are like, pushing them to build their dreams or whatever they may be.
And then I won't say I'm a cheap person, but I try to find deals. She would be looking over my shoulder while I'm on eBay or Amazon and to buy it now and be like, oh, that's too much. Oh, you got the money. You got to do it right this time, and she'd hit the button for you. So this car now is not a cheap build. It's not the most expensive build.
But it's expensive enough for your wallet, right?
Yes. This is, our friends tell us all the time, like, Court, man, you spent some money compared. I know how you are. I can't believe you spent that much. So
sometimes it's all about taking the steps, taking the leap, man.
Right.
So tell us, man, what we got going on here. I like the wheel setup, the tail lights that most people don't have, the hood, everything.
This is the hood actually comes off of the first car. I named the car Letty. I had 2 cars. One was called Mia, and Mia from Fast and Furious, she was, Brian O'Connor's girl. She had the Integra in the first one. She could drive, but she wasn't a beast. Letty was the beast, the girl driver, so the beast is called Letty, and then the daily driver was called Mia. But the hood is a carbon fiber VIS hood.
Okay.
I cut and put hood vents in because of the turbo. I needed to let some heat escape. It actually came out of the junkyard. I've had that hood for maybe 8 years, and the man behind the lens is the one who actually painted that one for me.
Oh no, man!
A lot of work to it because it came off a car that had flipped and slid. So he got it back in the tip-top shape. It's been painted since then again, but he did the initial work and had it looking good.
I tried when I was into painting, y'all. When I was into painting, now
you were a magician behind the paint gun. But I also took me 2 years to find some Gottis G1001s that I wanted. Found a guy who had them. We just could never link up to meet up because he didn't want to ship them. He didn't want them to get lost. I finally had a buddy who was close to where he was that went and got them for me and held them in Charlotte until he could come to Greenville.
Oh, that's dope.
And I found a company in Germany, Felgenfusch. who actually makes these wheels or make the lips and barrels.
Okay.
And we stepped them up to an 18. They sent me the lips and barrels. After getting in contact with them, they made them, shipped them, went through customs. It only took 3 weeks to get here.
Nice.
I tried 3-Piece USA. I tried SSR Hardware. I tried E-Wheel Works, which Paul Ehrlich is a really good friend of mine, but he just couldn't get these. So Felgen Fuchs were the only ones. I'm grateful because I'm too frugal to buy 3-piece wheels, but over a year's time, I was able to piece these together and save a lot of money.
Nice.
So I wanted the car to finally look good enough where I can take it to shows and not be upset that I'm in the same category as an F80 M3. It's like, man, but they look good. All they got to do is put carbon fiber on it. Well, now I've got some 3-piece wheels.
Right. The taillights, man, because not a lot of people know about these taillights. I don't have them, and they pretty pricey for the most part.
They are. These taillights, you can find ones that look like this on eBay for about $200. But these lights are TUV approved, and they are they're about $800 if you buy them brand new.
Okay.
It's like E30s have MHW, where these are called M-Pros. And they're actual M-Pros. I got them from someone cheap because they needed a little work on the inside. But I'm not afraid to do some wiring, rewiring.
Reverse engineering here and there if you got to.
So, got them very cheap. But there's a distinctive way where you can tell which ones are fake and which ones aren't.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to see it in a camera, honestly. You would have to go to the lens and actually look. The fake ones actually have an eagle inscribed somewhere in here.
Okay.
And the real ones don't. And then the real ones, you take them out, there is a yellow TUV sticker on the bottom of them.
Got you. Let's go over here to the, I guess the front end. You know, everybody's dying to see like the turbo setup and want to know so much about it. So, yeah, what we got shaking over here, man? It's just beautiful.
This car it's a 98, so it came with an M52, which is a 2.8 engine, inline 6. But this particular motor that my buddy Frank Ramos built in New York, gotta shout him out. It's got eagle rods. These motors already have a forged crank and high-protected pistons, which basically means they are already coated from the factory.
Right.
They take a little bit more abuse than a regular piston. So eagle rods, and then it's got a M50 non-Vanos head on it. So in '92, when the E36 came out, the first inline 6 came with a non-Vanos, which Vanos is their variable timing.
Right.
Engine, and that head basically has overboard valves, and basically you can rev this engine to 8,000 RPM,
like the original M3s, right?
M52, right. So they're bigger valves, they're solid lifters, and this one also has the M3 cams in it. So the cams add another 50 to 75 wheel horsepower in a boosted setup.
Right.
I went with a Boost Lab 67mm turbo just because my buddy Frank, again, he ran a Boost Lab 7275 and made 1,100 horsepower.
Oh, wow.
So the company is very, very reputable. They also rebuild other turbos, so they can rebuild your Garrett's, rebuild your HX, rebuild Precisions. And then he just decided to come out with his own turbo, and basically it's a lifetime warranty pretty much through them. If something ever fails, you can just send it to them, they'll rebuild it. If it's past failure that can't be fixed, then he'll charge you for the pieces that need to go in it, but that's about it.
Right.
But like I said, everything was done in my garage at home. Full E85, so I had to go with this is just an eBay fuel rail, because once again, talking to guys, it works. It doesn't leak. It actually works pretty great. RK Tunes, it's Jordan Horowitz out of New York, owns RK Tunes. So it's RK Tunes 1200cc injectors, the RK Tunes VMP 500 MAF that I did have to splice in, and then air motor fuel pressure regulator, and PTFE E85 safe 6 AM lines ran all the way back to the tank.
Nice. How much of a headache was that to do on this build in particular? For those that do want to go E85 or, you know, have that in mind.
E85 is actually pretty easy on the E36, only because even the stock lines can hold, you know, you can make 600-700 horsepower on stock fuel pressure regulator, stock lines on the E36. You just have to run a big enough fuel pump. Stock lines will hold it. I just changed it just because if I was doing everything else the right way, I might as well do this.
Do it all the right way. Got you.
They make all types of adapters because the E36, there's a hard line under the car and then it goes to a soft line. So they make an adapter that will go from that hard line into the PTFE lines here. So basically, that's what I used. I used the adapters from the tank and then ran this line all the way up.
Okay. Cool.
The M52s come with a different manifold. This is actually the manifold off of the M50.
M50, yeah.
Right now, like when we first got into E36s, you could buy these for $50-$75.
Right. Now they're going for like $200 or $300 now.
$200-$300 because people are getting on that. There are people making 1,100 horsepower with these manifolds.
Yep.
There are guys running 9-second quarter miles with these manifolds.
The M50 manifold. I have one at home myself that I'll be throwing on this later, but that's when it's turbo. But overall, this is an amazing build, man.
I appreciate it.
I remember, you know, stopping by a few times, and the story with the exhaust. Let's go through the funny story with the building the exhaust for this, because it's nowhere near like on the first build that you had.
No, the first build was a kind of teaching myself how to weld. The welds were boogers. It leaked. Anytime my wife got in the car, we got out, she'd smell like gas, you know, exhaust leaks. So this one, I had 2 or 3 companies that said, oh yeah, we can build you a downpipe and we can build the exhaust. And they never had time to do it. I got tired of waiting. So a buddy of mine sent me a Chicago electric welder that was on Marketplace. And the guy only wanted $70 for the welder, the cart, the welding helmet, and 3 different spools for the welder. So I basically ordered some parts off of Amazon, or pie cuts off of Amazon, and I started teaching myself to weld pretty much. All I had to do though was just tack weld everything in place. So each of these places was tack welded in like 6 different places. And then I had another buddy who had a TIG welder at home, and I just gave him the pieces and he TIG welded them up for me.
Nice.
And obviously I did a good enough job that they didn't move when he was welding, and everything still fit the way it was supposed to.
Nice.
It's full, it's 3.5 inch all the way back to, it's a 3-inch muffler, so there's just maybe like a foot of 3-inch that goes from 3.5 to 3-inch, but that's also going around the back axle so that there's more room. But I even had to raise the car because 3.5-inch exhaust was not agreeing with how low I had the car.
Now, what suspension do you have on this?
This is Bilstein PSS9 coilovers in the front, and I have Swift 6-inch but 10K springs in the back.
Okay.
The 6-inch was actually, them without purchase was too low, the rear sag. So I did have to use some coilover purchase for them, but it's just perfect the way I have it now. It's enough where the car will squat where it needs to, but it's also high enough where I won't scrub trying to get into parking lots and stuff like that.
Right. This is a pretty dope build. I love this build. It's probably one of my favorites. Another thing most people probably won't even notice is the front fascia is actually a 95. It's not a 98.
Right. I took that also off of my old car. These are no longer available. They were made to look like the OBD2, like that are on Leonard's car, but they're actually recessed in here, and then these were built over the recessed OBD1 grills to be on the outside. And because I can't get that carbon fiber anywhere else, I decided to just turbo diesel. I wanted to keep my carbon fiber grill, so I had to use the whole front nose panel from Letty version 1.
Okay, cool. And we running the Treadstone front mount. I love this front mount. The
Treadstone front mount.
the name just on the side of it, just we gonna take a peek for it for y'all so y'all can see. Like it just speaks boldly for some reason. I don't know why. Like it sticks out and it just says trouble for some reason.
She's a thick boy, that's for sure.
Yeah, seeing it with the bumper off the car, I'm like, Jesus, this is a massive front mount. Do I want one that massive? Probably not, you know, I mean, but if I need it, hey, so
it's
be
one
it.
of those you overbuild just in case.
Just in case, right?
And so this one, Treadstone, their numbers actually tell you what they are. So this one is a 1235, so it's a 12-inch intercooler, and it's a 3.5 core.
Oh, nice. What clutch and flywheel setup is on this right now?
I'm actually using a DKM twin disc setup, and I'm using the organic clutch disc.
Okay.
So the regular ceramic ones in this setup will hold 600 foot-pounds of torque, but the organic ones are supposed to hold 850 to 1,000.
Nice.
So it's another one of those that's overbuilding. The car, I don't want it to make 800 torque. 800 wheel horsepower is great, but you want to keep torque down because torque is what breaks things.
Breaks everything,
but
right?
If this was to be, 800 foot-pounds of torque, it should still hold without any problems. It's been balanced already too, and then it gives you a stock clutch feel.
Okay.
My old setup, I had an FX clutch off of eBay, and it held great, but it was a very, very hard clutch. It was
super aggressive.
I think that one leg is a lot stronger than the other one just from having to push the clutch in. Like my wife could not drive the car, but she could get into this one and move it around the yard if she needed to because it feels just like a stock clutch.
Nice. And the drive shaft is factory, right?
This is a factory drive shaft. Hopefully I don't push too much power where it'll twist. I know it will if I'm out here doing digs and stuff like that, but that's also from a 95 M3, so it's a 6-bolt CV joint drive shaft. Most of them now are 4-bolt and stuff like that. But,
right.
I can get a one-piece drive shaft from Drive Shaft Shop, and theirs come with the 6-bolt on it already, so all I would have to do is just put that up. But
cool.
I'm staying stock drive shaft for now. There's no need to go to the track and try to prove anything to anybody. I just built it for me, so.
Right.
Now if somebody gets beside me on the road and we're already rolling, they want to do a 40 to 120, 140, 160, then so be it.
Right. Otherwise, because you only bring it out on Sundays for the most
Sundays
part.
for meets, and then on Thursdays when I'm off work, I'll drive it up the street or something like that. But here in our city now, they have a noise clause, and some of our guys are getting tickets for aftermarket exhausts.
Oh, that sucks.
In order to get the ticket dropped, you actually have to take it to a TUV-approved police station and let them inspect your car. And that's just not going to happen. This
right.
Straight exhaust all the way back to a muffler, so I'd rather just not get the ticket.
Right. No, I feel you. And you did one thing that I've noticed that most turbo guys do. It's a turn-off for me, but preference is you don't have the out the hood exhaust, which I'm so glad. I hate that so much.
So when I was 21 or 22, maybe that was cool, but for me, I like the car to look clean. So if you have this dumping out of the hood, you're going to get black
soot everywhere.
And then it's just too loud.
Yeah.
I can't drive with people in the car, especially my wife, to a car show, a car meet, where we like to go to Virginia Beach for Springfest every year. That 2-hour drive would drive her crazy if this was coming out of the hood. So I kind of want everything to look as OEM as possible. I'm not an over-the-top person.
Yeah, as you can see, if you pulled up beside it and never looked in, like, if it happens to pull up beside you and you never look in your rear view or anything, you would think it's just E36 on just a set of wheels and exhaust until you hit the kill switch or what have you.
And wonder why there are hood vents in that car. You can't even really see the turbo from the vents. They're just placed so that air moves from the turbo. The heat moves from that area away from, the radiator and back towards the car and then out.
Right. So you pretty much got it set up, dynamically so that you really don't run into a lot of heat issues. And I noticed too, because when a lot of people go turbo with the E36, they get rid of
the clutch
fan. He still has his, by the way.
There is not a single fan made that can move as much air as this. So I always try to keep it. On this build, I did keep AC. My last build, I didn't because I was using a manifold that you couldn't put the AC compressor on. But on this one, I did use it. So I did have to use a slim fan for that, and it is a Spall slim fan. It's a 2500 CFM fan.
I'll try to get in there so you guys can see it. You can kind of see it, but
that was the only slim fan I was putting up here. Now this one, most people get rid of the fan because they can break. They explode, as they call it. They can dent your hood and mess up your radiator, which I did have that happen. But the reason that happens is because you don't have good motor mounts or transmission mounts.
Right.
So if you replace those and everything's good, your fan should never, ever mess up.
Nice. There was another question I was going to ask you in reference to the engine, but it slipped my mind. It'll come to me in a second. I don't know, but it'll come to me. In the meantime, can we go for a ride in this thing? I mean, I hadn't ridden in this build. I rode in the last build. This build is totally different for me.
Definitely. Now this one will only keep on, right now the wastegate is set at 10 PSI, so it's 10 pounds. I do have a boost controller in the car where I can set it to wherever, but I have not touched it yet because we're on the Gottis and this joker just skates across the road.
Right.
These 225/40s in the back, and we're just not trying to end up in a ditch.
Right. Yeah, let's not do that. We almost did that when you were supercharged years ago. That's another story for another time.
Spin, ditch. Oh God, is there a cop around? Nope.
Copyright. Just get my seatbelt on.
I have to figure out that brake light.
Oh no, dude, my brake light, my whole 11 button, the check button doesn't work. All of a sudden, I gotta get a new one. All types of things. Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna ask you. What manifold are you running so that you can keep the AC?
Right now, that is RSI's, Rapid Spool Industries. They're actually fairly cheap. It's like $700.
Yeah, $761 if I remember correctly. I just wanted, to let the people know that do want to keep their AC if they decide to turbo the E36. What manifold to get, so that they don't have to chunk it if, especially if you live in a place where it's super hot. Right. And you want to keep your AC in. Where we live during the summertime,
we got to keep AC.
Definitely got to keep AC. It's warm out here, so. I feel aggressive. It even sounds different from the last build. Like that day at Cars and Coffee when you rode after you shot by me, I'm like, this sounds nothing like his other exhausts. And the best part is I'll have that exhaust on my E36 once things start cracking for me. So
build yours.
I'm excited to build that. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but it's gonna happen. And I still gotta get my steering wheel, man. I'm jealous. You got the 3-prong. I have a 3-prong. I just can't find anybody to rewrap the damn thing for me. And this is a journal bearing turbo, right?
Yes.
I swore it's a ball bearing. I thought it was a ball bearing the other day, the way it sounds.
It does have the anti-surge housing on it.
Okay. I'm looking at a Pulsar with the T51 R mod.
Yes, those sound amazing. Boost Lab will do that on these, but because it already had the anti-surge housing, I was like, nah, it's okay. It's an extra $350. Like I said, I'm very
Right.
Getting to a spot up here where I'm trying to open her up a little bit.
Man, the suspension is like set perfect. It's not bouncy, it's not all over the place. It's just perfect. And if you can see this road in the video, like, this road is rough, but the ride of the vehicle doesn't feel rough at all. It feels damn near factory.
To me, that feels like the other setup on 16 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, this one started like slapping me in the seat like almost immediately.
And that's all perks to RK Tunes. The way he tunes these cars, man is a genius.
Yeah, I've watched many of his videos and I'm like, man, I can't wait because that's who I'll be going through to get my tune.
With him, pretty much you tell him everything that you've done to the car, all the mods that you are wanting to do, and he tunes it accordingly and then sends it to you. And this one, the S52 cams plays a big part in the turbo spool. So even though it's a bigger turbo, it still spools up pretty quick.
Nice.
This one is a 91 AR housing for the turbine, so pretty much I shouldn't be, it should be laggy, and it's not.
Right. It pretty much, it does its job. It does what it needs to do for the most part.
And the exhaust tune is completely different, and that's just based off of going from 3-inch to 3.5.
And that's what I noticed. Like I said, when we were riding it, I'm like, this thing sounds nothing like his first build. So I can imagine, the day and night difference that you hear just riding along.
Right. I'm not gonna lie, at first, when the very first drive, I heard the turbo. But everything's in the back of your mind, like, what did I do wrong? I thought that it was the throwout bearing that was making noise, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to take this transmission back off because I don't want that noise, until I actually sat back and listened, and it's the turbo. So it's a good feeling to have, I'm guessing.
Smell the E35 too. My goodness.
That's the thing. My wife is just like, babe, our garage smells like, is that gas that I'm smelling? I'm like, yeah, babe, that's what E85 smells like.
And I remember going to the racetrack, over the years and just smelling that smell. But during that time, I had no idea about E85. Right.
Running race gas.
Right. Whole time E85 is out here smelling all lovely.
It definitely has a sweet smell to it.
Yes.
But it burns. The downside of E85, it burns 30% more than regular gas.
Okay.
So, driving from here to Raleigh might have only taken a quarter of a tank on 93, but it might take, 3/16 of a tank. Or actually, that's the wrong math. It'll take a little less than half a tank.
Sideways.
Get out of that one.
We were going sideways instantly. It was no, let me think about this. The car was like, I want to go this way.
Setup at home. I've got some drifter buddies overseas. They introduced me to Zestino Dredge 07Rs. They're a 140 tread wear tire. So they're better than Federal RSRRs. Still not on the level as the Toyota RAARs, but for $300 shipped for two, it's a really good price. So I'm going to try those out.
Hopefully get some good traction off those.
Yes. Now I know if I plan to go 35 PSI in here at some point, those are still not going to hold. So I can get some BMW style 68s that are 17s, and I can get a 275/40 Mickey Thompson to throw on the back. My rear quarter panels are rolled and pulled a little bit, so the 275/40s will work, and that should give me all the traction that I need to put 35 PSI and 800 wheel horsepower, give or take, to the ground.
That's amazing. Like I said, the car runs smooth. Like I said, the suspension is on point. Everything. Like even me sitting on the passenger side, in most cases, when someone's shifting, you can feel the aggressiveness of the clutch. And in this one, I can't tell that he has a twin disc in it. It's just,
I love the way this twin disc feels. There are some people who don't believe in, breaking in a clutch. And for those people that don't believe in it, they are the ones who seem to have problems with this clutch. Oh, it didn't hold for me. But everyone I know that actually did the 500-mile break-in without going over 3,500 or 4,000 RPM, this clutch has held up perfectly fine for me.
nice. Yeah, man, and that is the build. That is the drive. That is my man Cortney. Is there any way people can link up with you, follow your build, follow everything about you? Pretty much.
I don't post a lot on Instagram, but everything that I did with the build, I actually put in one of the Instagram reels or whatever that you put at the top that you can hold on to, and I have them labeled as Letty parts and Letty version 2 progress. My Instagram is Boogie Down Bosky, BOOGYDOWNBOSKEY, and then I am Cortney Bosky on Facebook.
Cool. So you heard it here, guys. You know how to link up with him. You know how to get in contact if you want to check out the build. You have questions.
I will answer anybody's questions about anything. I'll tell you all the stuff that I've done wrong, all the stuff that I had to learn the hard way. I know there are a lot of people who will ask questions on Facebook or something and people leave them on red, or they'll say use the search function. I'm not one of those people. I even have people that live in Canada who will call me through Facebook Messenger and say, hey bro, can you look at this real quick and help me out? And if it's something I don't know, because I don't know everything, I have buddies that I can call and I'll tell you, hey, I don't know, but let me find out for you, and then I'll let you know what I find. I have no problems helping any and everybody.
And as it should be in the car community, you have people that want to host, gatekeep, and have secret sauce and this, that, and the other. But if a person is trying to understand something so that they can not have to spend extra money or do shit 5 or 6 times, and you got somebody to help you, that's like the perfect ordeal. Like I said, and the car community should be that way, but it's not a lot of times now. I know during the whole cambered wheel thing, people were really secretive about their wheel setup. But
I've had so many wheel setups on this car, I can pretty much tell you what's going to work, what's not going to work. You can ask me, I'll tell you my wheel specs, I'll tell you what old wheel specs were. I can probably even look at a car and tell you what their wheel specs are if it's BMW related. And I have no problem sharing anything. Nothing's a secret with me.
Awesome. Well, that's the ride. We back in our area, so you know the vibes. It's your boy here, Leonard, from Beamers and Jordans. And of course, be peaceful. Don't let nobody rob your peace. Stay up.